Thanks for staying with us on the South Australian Sports Show, Poppy. One of the best.
Thank you. Oh, thanks very much.
Mate, I'd say this, and I don't want to pump up his tyres because he's just sitting one seat away from me, but I think, and I've said it to his face, that he's the best footballer that South Australia have ever produced. We're talking about Johnny Platten. Platts, how are you?
Big call, Phil. Yeah,
Big call.
Very nice.
Well, but you're not going to disagree.
No, I'm happy with that. I was slinging $20 later.
Yeah. Now, the reason we got you in, Platts, a lot of talk around concussion in all forms of sport, obviously footy, but last year, grand final week, we see the front page, Johnny Platten, concussion tests. Can you tell us a little bit, A, how it started, and then B, the process for you?
Yes. Gentleman from Melbourne, Robbo, he did an article on it, and he rang us up and told me he'd like to do an article on it, and he's asked me first how many concussions do I have over my footy career. I said, oh, I don't really know. I haven't counted them because I can't remember. So I said I'd probably average about 2 a year. And I probably played 18 seasons of league footy. That's with Central's days as well, and with Hawthorn. And I suppose you average that over, say, 2. All of a sudden, it's 36. So,
and what do they say the safe margin is? Don't they say the safe margin's like 6 or 7 over a career?
Oh, I'm not sure. You know,
it's crazy. Yeah. But I mean, mid-30s is it's a sizable number when you.
Yeah. But and then so the article went out.
Wow.
And so the AFL got onto it, and they sort of found out where I was, and they rang me the next day, which was great. They sort of said, you know, you're on our list to get checked and everything else. So I went back to Melbourne about 3 weeks later, got all checked out, and had the MRI scans and the concussion test and all that sort of thing. So everything came up okay.
Which is good. You always had a game that was probably prone to putting your body on the line, given your style of play and your size, and but it's something now that's become more obvious for players. You know, that safety. In fact, the rules are probably changing to protect the ball hunter. In your day, it wasn't that way, though.
No, it wasn't. Look, I'm not sort of here to whinge about it as well.
No.
Yeah, we're it's
Thank
more.
goodness.
It's just more an awareness, I think, now, so that when the AFL rang me, I said, look, thanks for ringing me because I want to find out now if everything's fine. You know, waiting 10 years' time or 5 years' time to think that there is something wrong with me. At least if there was something wrong, they could nip it in the bud now, then 5 or 10 years later, which might have been too late, or 20 years later. So, no, it's come up okay. I spoke to the professor and the doctor and everything else while I was over there for a couple of days, and they sort of...
Any part of the test you didn't enjoy? You know how there's always something in tests you go, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah, I wasn't good at school, so it sort of felt like I was back in grade 5 or something. I'd do this block test and puzzle test and computer test and things like that. But
you still weren't trying to put a round peg in a square hole, were you?
That's right. I still was.
Something like that. If we have a look at some of the vision of incidents in all forms of sport, you don't realise sometimes just how hard that impact is as we look through some of the highlights now, Platts. But you'd feel for some of these guys that get hit. Even this guy with young Smithy on the way down.
Accident, like those types of things are an accident type thing. It's a very physical game, footy, so you've got to expect to get injured. So, and this is one of them, how he got sling and behind and as a Barco was just coming past and hit the top of his hip. So, and that's a fairly hard bone to hit.
Yeah, Rewalt the same here. This is a fairly innocuous one. Sort of Rewalt comes in too high and bang, head-high clash like that. Both guys unconscious. Rewalt taken off on a stretcher. But I guess the pleasing thing is, if you can draw a positive out of such dramatic impact, is that there is a process in place now. There is some sort of understanding. And some of these hits are, you could probably liken them to a car crash, but at least there's a process in place for the safety of the athlete.
Especially now, especially over probably the last 5 years or so, they really have done their homework. The AFL and other probably sports as well have done their homework. They're making sure that blokes who are concussed on that day are treated right, do the concussion test, and if it doesn't show up right, they'll miss a week or 2 weeks as well. So the awareness is big now, so it should be.
When we talk about the awareness being big now, Pat, so there are times that you can remember you were concussed and then played the game, and then at the end of the game thought, I can't really even remember what happened there.
Yeah, lots of games like that. Yeah, which it is pretty scary because you finish up in hospital or you finish up home in bed vomiting all night and things like that. So I played a lot of games which I knew I was concussed.
Yeah.
The game seemed to go really quick, and then next minute you're in an ambulance going to the hospital or rushing back at home.
You
to
play
If you look
So
at the
you play
force of
for-
some of this
Oh.
vision, on the brain, it's quite incredible.
Well, the
brain and
whiplash
the
alone,
spine, that they liken to a car crash, and I think rightly so too. But no, in our day, more so we recognise the impact now, but in our day we weren't aware of it. I think there was one famous grand final, wasn't there, where I think
89.
you can't recall even playing. That was Hawthorn v Geelong.
Yeah, that's probably about the worst one I've ever been. I got hit in the first quarter, and I came off at quarter time, and it was sort of like now it's a bit funny in the sense of that our Hawthorn huddle was here and Geelong huddle was over there. So I started walking towards our huddle, and then I started walking to the middle of the ground. And Alan Jeans said, go and see the rat and see what he's doing. So the doctor came out.
What's he doing?
And I'm walking straight to the middle of the ground. It is AFL grand final. And the doctor came out and said, Rat, what are you doing? I said, I'm going down the room to have a shower, get ready for the motor cave, which was the Friday before. So the coach said, no, get him off. And I can watching the game, the replay on the Sunday. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was sitting on the bench, I had the towel over my head, and I was talking to Gary Ayres and Greg Manigan. The blokes were on the bench, and blokes are.
Yeah,
they had no
the
idea.
game has evolved over the years. I was watching Vision, and it's only 3 decades ago. Malcolm Blight sitting on the bench having a fag watching the footy. These days, you look back in hindsight and think, how did, we do now, looking at the players that put their body on the line, you look back and say, wow, you really see how far we've come as a sport, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah, I think the other thing that happened in that 89 game is talking to the guys in the defensive end, they said that you were on Ablett that game. So, and clearly you weren't, but you're going to take the blame
I
for
can't
it.
remember. He kicked 9 goals. I think he got best player. So
But he wasn't in the winning side, though.
that's right.
So
I've got the medal.
no memery loss, no scars. Do you have to? Is that why you keep your name on the front of your shirt so you remember where you're going to go back to a safety hub?
Yeah, my name now is the safety hub. Jeez, I wish I wore a hard hat back in those days.
Well,
but,
exactly right.
Can you see it going there? Plus, you reckon? I mean, we see it in the gridiron. They're geared up for that, and that part of protection.
We
and
went through that stage subtly for a
well,
period
the
of
guys that
time.
were wearing almost the bike helmet, coming back from concussion.
There's a story now coming out of America for the gridiron, is that they're not wearing the helmets now for practicing because what they're finding, the blokes wear helmets and they get smashed. The blokes, when they don't wear the helmets, they're tackling better, they're tackling smarter.
Okay.
So there's a story about that coming out out of America for the gridiron. So so they're going to try and stop gridiron players wearing helmets because once you've got a helmet on, you're Superman. You can do anything you like.
Do you think there's a little bit of luck that comes into this when you're talking about brains and concussions? I mean, Diesel is suffering at the other extreme. So do you consider yourself a little bit lucky that you're not impacted in some way?
Oh, yeah. I think you're sort of lucky the way that you played. I'd never take it back. I have no regrets on the way that I played and things like that. I think Diesel is struggling a little bit with life in general. So, I see him at grand finals and Brownlow medal counts and things like that. And, he knows who I am, but talking to his wife, Mary, he's finding dealing life in general
pretty tough.
Fairly tough. Yeah.
Could have been the long hair mate cushion the blow, so I would have been a whole lot of strife.
Well, that's right. I'm losing it on now.
Don't worry, I'm catching up quickly.
Mate, we have to go in a minute and we could talk all day. Just quickly, of course, they changed the rules this week in the AFL Grand Final, 2 5-minute extra periods, and at the end of that, if it's a draw, then the next score wins. How do you see it?
I think, 5 minutes each end. I'm pretty sure they'll find a score out of the 5 minutes each end. And then if it comes to the first score, it'll be mayhem.
You played in one of those in the semi-final, didn't you?
Elimination final, 1994 against North Melbourne, and we went 5 minutes each end, and North finished up winning.
Well done. Quick question.
Yeah.
6 times 6.
36.
Yeah, well done. No, he's okay. He's fine.
All right, Johnny Platten, our special guest. If you need anything at all, get down to the safety hub. Platts will look after you. We need to get to a break. Stay with us. Still plenty to come.